Good afternoon. We just wanted to come here to let you all know something about Black History. Black History is just not 1 month of the 12 months. Black History is 365 days. We here as African Americans, and we're proud to be Black and we're beautiful. In our profession that we work in, we deal with racial things on a regular. I know as a African American nurse, as a director of nursing, I deal with it quite often. But it's something different when your children have to deal with it. We raise our children to love everybody as God loves everyone. And there is no boundaries to what you can or you can't do. The sky is the limit, and you treat everybody the same. Skin color is just that. It's just the color of someone's skin. But it is different when it hits home. We hear often these awful stories and tragedies that happen with the Black Lives Matter movement. But when it hit home, it's different.
Yeah, it's really different. And I know many of you all have had encounters with forms of racism, whether it be in the workhouse, the schoolhouse, just in the street, in the world in general. But like my wife said, it hit home towards the end of last year, 2021. We had a very serious incident to happen involving our son at his school, and we teach our children to do right. But what happens when you entrust your people, your children, to certain individuals, when they let you down, when they drop the ball? We felt violated, we felt hurt, and our children had to experience firsthand racism. It's often talked about and we see movies about it, but as my wife mentioned a few minutes ago, it's a whole different scenario when it's in your house. When you get to call and say that you have a son that is suspended for allegations that were not accurate. And then when you see your son, you realize that he was not only suspended, but he was beat by 3 Caucasian young boys with a metal belt in the bathroom. When he got away, he was able to get to the teacher, the staff member, the adult. And just like it has happened to us, they kind of brushed him off and said, go to class. Only to find out that the gentlemen that beat him had already begun the setting up of the defaming of character, had been putting his name all on social media, saying all types of false allegations about him, all based off a perception of being a Black boy.
It is something we oftentimes stereotype people, whether we knowingly do it or we know that we're doing it. Parents, I beg you to be a part of your child's life in their schooling and be involved in your child's life. Do not take any wooden nickels. You don't let anybody put your child in a category all.
That's right.
My son, our son, was categorized. He was put in a category as being a typical Black young man who, as a teenager, they talk about sex or whatever the case is. And he was put in that category of just being a reckless young Black man. When someone accuses your child of something, it is important that you be a realist.
You
be a realist. We do know that our son was not 100% innocent. He did play a part in this.
Right.
But it went bad when racism came in. A Caucasian young lady who was interested in my son. She was interested.
Oh, yes.
She accused my son of raping her.
Yes, you heard it correctly. Rape. We said the same thing.
We didn't advertise it. We didn't, talk about it. We didn't send out a SOS and all of this stuff. We told key people in our life because it was such a sensitive time for us. And as a mother, and I'm pretty sure most mothers can relate to this, you become very emotional. I was very emotional. I didn't know really how to process all of this because my son's entire life was about to be snatched away from him for allegation that he did not do. And I asked my son, I said, Tyrell, did you do this? It's best that we know. You have to ask that question.
Right, be honest with us.
You have to ask your children. You can't just say, well, no, he didn't do it. I wanted to know so that way we could handle it appropriately.
Right.
And I looked my son in the eyes and I said, did you do this? And he said, Mom, I did not do this. I did not rape that girl. I didn't even touch her. We were playing. And I believed in my son.
And not only did we believe in our son, we took what he said and we made sure that, as they say in the world, they fact check it. We went to the school every day to ask for, let me see the video, let me see the alleged reports that were filed, let me see the staff member that told him to go back to class, just to find out that the principal was out of school.
The allegation that was made against him was not true. But in the process of us finding out all of this, so much happened to my son in a matter of 24 hours because the young lady accused my son of raping her, and she cried crocodile tears, and she felt away, and she told her boyfriend,
Caucasian boyfriend.
In that moment, that next day, my son was beat in the bathroom, and it was recorded.
They were bold, I'm sorry, honey. They were bold enough to record the whipping, the metal belt with the spikes in it. And then not only did they send it to themselves, they had a mitigated gall to put it on social media.
They posted how they beat my son like a slave, as they said. They posted all kinds of awful things about my son, and we're going to get this guy, and this guy doesn't know his place.
This scumbag got to go down.
Scumbag got to go down. And all of this was behind a young lady who lied. There wasn't a proper investigation that was done on my son's behalf. It was automatic. We have to suspend him because they have pressed charges, to find out that there was never any charges pressed.
To date, we have never received a police report about this alleged incident. To date, we have never seen any footage about this incident. So much so that we had to get the NAACP involved and other people that are in the political world in the city of Portsmouth involved, so that we can be assured that we're doing the right things and taking the right steps and doing everything according to the law. I mean, we had to get a lawyer, we had to obtain all things, but in addition to all that, we have a 9th grader who attends the school with my son, who is in 11th grade. The individual that jumped my son, or who recorded my son, just happened to be in the same class as my daughter. So imagine the boy that you find out that beat your brother, that gave him a concussion, that led him to the emergency room, that ended up with him being suspended for 10 days with the penalty of being expelled. And then his report read rape. And none of this was true. So much so that we filed the petition to have it before the hearing and all of these things. And we had the NAACP up there, and we went up there every day. We was pressuring and we was pressuring and we was pressuring, so much so that 2 hours before the case, they called and said, hey, we're going to cancel the meeting. It's no need for it. We realized that we're just going to do away with it.
And he's not going to be expelled.
He's not going to be expelled. It's not going to be on his record. Everything we wiped clean. He can come back to school tomorrow. We celebrated. We thank God for that moment.
With all of that, the only thing that I could think of was, I just don't want my son on a t-shirt. I support the Black Lives Matter. we support the Black Lives Matter. But all of the events that happened with the Black Lives Matter resulted in someone passing. I didn't mind doing a march. I didn't mind doing anything. I didn't mind. I just didn't want my son on a t-shirt.
And the fact that we did not even deal with the mental anguish that our son and daughter had to going through, where everybody in the school was under the presumption that you were a rapist, or that was the boy that touched the girl, or that was the one that got jumped, or that was the one. My son had to live that. My ninth grade daughter had to experience this.
The day that the incident happened, that our son was jumped and beat like a slave.
Like a slave.
They had a fire drill, and my daughter stated that she had saw him, and my son had his hood on his head, and my daughter Jada went up to him and said, "Terrell, what you got your hood on your head?" And when he took the hood off, she saw his face was messed up, and he had a knot. And my daughter said,
cuts from the belt.
"What happened?" He was like, "I got jumped." And so my daughter was kind of upset, and then they had to go back to their classes. For the end of the day to happen, and my son and my daughter, they were tight. They sisters and brothers, and they always meet up. When Jada couldn't find Terrell at the end of the day, she automatically became scared.
Frantic, worried.
And she started crying, and she was running around trying to find her brother, because my daughter said, "All I could think of, Mom, was Emmett Till." I was scared that my brother was being jumped again like they did Emmett Till. So to have not only your son go through such a horrific event, it trickled to my daughter, and she went through such awful thoughts, and it scared her, and she was crying, and she couldn't find him, and finally she found him, and they came home, and that's when we found out everything that happened. But with that, all I could, as a mother, while the incident was going on, I was very quiet, because that's my son, and my son is not, he's not perfect, but that's my son.
Right.
And nobody has the right to beat my son. We don't live in that era where you beat him like a slave.
Right.
You're not going to do it. I deal with that kind of racism on a regular, but not our son. He should be free. He should be able to do and go as he please. And to be to take the word of a young lady without doing the proper research and investigation, it's heartbreaking. And our son went through things. We asked him when we were going through it that day, a good friend of ours, everybody was just so shocked that it all happened. Everybody could believe it. And she asked Terrell a good question, because we were just all in just a mess, and I was crying and everything. And she asked him, and she says, "Terrell, I know you hear your mom, and you see your mom crying, and you hear your dad upset, and everybody's all upset. But how do you feel?" And my son stood there and said, "I'm in disbelief. I can't believe this has happened to me."
So as we just begin to thank God for bringing us so far, we still have so far to go. So many times we thought that our son would be expelled, or he would never get the chance of a fair trial, or he would never be able to finish school. And here you are talking about a 17-year-old black boy less than 11 months away from being 18. It was just heartbreaking because he now has to go into a world in less than a year where legally he won't have his parents to be his representative so much because he'll be technically grown.
All behind a lie.
A lie.
The young lady lied.
And to date, there has been nothing done to her. Or if there has been, we will never know because we can never know about what happened to the person that alleged this, that started this, that incited all of this reminder to us that racism is very much real. And because of that, we just want to not only thank God for our friends that we know, that the Lord has put us in position to be able to be connected to more than church, but we're talking about in the political world. But we want to thank God for the NAACP because they came in, excuse this termination, with their guns loaded. They came in ready. They came in not playing. They came in with their lawyer. They came in with the president and the vice president, so much so that they did not even want us in the building on the ground. They told us not to come back. However, it's not over.
We are very grateful for the NAACP. We never thought the day would ever come. That we would have to utilize the NAACP. I never thought. Mm-hmm. You know, we hear about it and we want to give honor to them because these are the same two gentlemen who went down into Portsmouth and got the racial statue removed. Mm-hmm. It was these same two gentlemen.
He was arrested too.
Who supported us and helped us and handled us with so much. They handled us in a delicate manner. They knew the severity of it. They knew that we were very emotional. They knew that we were angry. They knew it was a lot going on, but they handled us in such an amazing way that we are ever so grateful for these two gentlemen. Yeah. These two warriors. We are just grateful for them.
And we know that if this has happened to us, this has happened to some of you all. So we want to encourage you not only to just hear what we're saying and hear what others have said and what has done, but we want you to really grab holds of the horns and get involved. You may not know how, you may not know why, you may not know who to contact, but I promise you, your voice is valuable. Your voice is needed. I know there have been instances in several people that may be viewing this where you have been profiled and racially discriminated against and you felt no way out. So you just kept quiet and you kind of silenced yourself. But that's why people died for us, to be able to have a right to talk, to be able to have freedom of speech, to be able to be seen as equal citizens. Regardless of the situation, we all deserve a fair trial. So I just want to encourage you to get involved. Do more than just talk and pray. Physically put your hand to the plow and get involved and get involved not only with your mouth, but with your finances. Give to these organizations because they didn't charge us a dime.
Not a dime.
And they spoke up for our behalf for 2 months nonstop.
It was amazing. I'm usually never speechless. And throughout the whole event, I had nothing to say because I couldn't stop crying. But in that moment, when I couldn't stop crying, they spoke up for us.
They did.
So partner with the NAACP, your local NAACP.
Whatever city you're in, we're in Portsmouth, so we definitely want to thank the Portsmouth location of the NAACP. But every city has a branch of the NAACP, so find out. We Google everything, so I encourage you all to get on Google. All the information is right there on the website. And if you have been discriminated, your child, your loved one, your family member, or anybody that you may know that may have been through a situation where fairness was not given, I'm encouraging you, I'm admonishing you to reach out to them because help is there. Yeah. Of course, we know God can fix and do all things, and all things is in His control. But some things we can handle, some things we can do, some things we can take care of. So that's
Reach
all.
out to them. Be a partner. Support the NAACP. Don't wait till February.
That's right.
To support your sister or your brother. Don't wait till February.
That's right.
To be active in the NAACP. It happens all year round.
All year round.
And these two gentlemen are angels. And before we can honor anybody, we must honor these two gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Black History Month.